I'm going to take you back to the Paradise City where the boys are cute, the boys are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me down? No, I'm not. But I'm going to take you back. December 1976, Autocar magazine. They conclude, how to sum up a Civic. Not everybody loves it. But I've not met anyone who really hates it. At worst, they smile. Considering the price, the reliability and the fun of ours, they should grin. Hello, welcome to Driven It. I am here with Honda's delightful Mk1 Honda Civic. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Honda, a little bit about the Civic, and then we're going to go for a drive in this beautiful little car. Beautiful paintwork. So, stick around. So where did Honda come from? Well, they originated from Japan. There we go. But we're here in Bracknell, and you go, what the hell? Multi-global conglomerate, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't always like this. Big, huge car park full of Hondas. They were quite small. They were very, very small. They had lawnmowers and motorbikes and two-stroke engines. And that was pretty much all Honda were known for. However, they went, cars, you can make more money selling cars than you can bikes. Admittedly though, their bikes were fucking fantastic and they literally pretty much annihilated the UK motorbike industry. Something my father was always like, oh, those Japanese, they annihilated the UK motorbike industry. And yeah, they did, because people with motorbikes went, hang on, what's this? A push button start. Fucked off to work. So yeah, people were like, then they were like, we'll make cars. So you see, Honda tried with their little N600s and 650s or whatever you call it. Yeah, not always successful, because we in the UK, we went, they're a bit weird, aren't they? Admittedly, we were buying Citroen 2CVs, Dianes and Amis, and they were also a bit weird, but you know, that's lazy journalism. My friend Jerry's going to hate me for that. But they were quite peculiar. So Honda went, we need to up our game. We need to make something a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit more European. And they did. They took the design and they've gone from Japanese 11, because the Japanese were very avant-garde, very oriental. Look at the two main players, Toyota and Datsun, as they were at the time. And their designs were very, who could forget Datsun and the biscuit tin hubcaps? Sensational. But yeah, Honda went, yeah, we'll take that 11 and we're going to go click, 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 and we'll just put it to 6. We'll put it to 6 and we'll make this car a little bit more European. And they did achieve that, because it's quite small, it's quite dumpy. I know, right? People might go, oh, that's horrible. It's a horrible thing to say about such a beautiful little car. It's dumpy. From the side profile, it does look a bit dumpy, a bit like an Austin Allegro, a bit like an Alfa Sud. I know, right? But I'm not being rude. Dumpy was the way of the Europeans at the time. There we go. Anyway, so Honda have come a long way from selling the little two-stroke cars that we were like, don't really want, to making a four-stroke two-door saloon, which then became a four-door saloon, which then became two-door and four-door saloons, and also then two-door and four-door hatchbacks. And then, here they are today, Al, in Bracknell, with a big, glossy, shiny headquarters, where I am today. The Honda Civic was a very, very important car for Honda, and it was a car that established them as a main contender in Europe. And a big reveal, and I didn't know this until I sort of did some research. 1974 won Car of the Year. Okay, it didn't win Car of the Year, I tell a lie, but it was the first Japanese car to feature on the top 3 Car of the Year. It got beaten, admittedly, by a Mercedes 450 SE and a Fiat X19. And then third, with 90 points, Honda. Admittedly, the X19 only beat it by 9 points, but yeah, first Japanese car. And this was the time when Europe then suddenly went, oh, slightly shat the pants, and suddenly went, we need to do something, because the Japanese, they are coming. Our friends at What Car magazine pulled an absolute blinder back to 1976, a little bit earlier than my introduction piece. You see, they put a Honda Civic 1500 up against Citroen Diane, Volkswagen Beetle, Reliant Kitten, and a Scimitar 1000. Now, the one thing that came across this, and you sort of go, okay, yeah, the Honda Civic, yeah, Honda Civic 1500, what? Not 1200, 1500. And you go, is that fair? Well, no, it's not fair. But it is fair if you look at pricing. Because I tell you now, the Honda Civic was cheap. And this is where, again, the Japanese and Honda just got you, because they made a cheap car that worked on a wet day. And I'm just going to show you a comparison of prices. You see, a Honda Civic 1500 retailed in 1976 for £1,636. And you go, wow, is that a lot of money? Well, let's just compare to a Citroën Diane at £1,338, and you go, ooh. And then you look at the Beetle, and as you know, I'm a fan of the Beetle. £1,664. So it was more than this. And while Volkswagen did have the reputation for build quality, etc., and they were reliable, it was really not great. However, at the time, 1976, Volkswagen were starting to phase out their air-cooled and bring in water-cooled cars. And the Polo wasn't really a lot more than a Beetle. And that was, as cars go, far superior. Honda Civic 1200 or the 1500, far superior. If you want to compare like for like, and you go for the 1200, even cheaper. There you go. Japanese. Now, going to hit on something new topic, because if you think of cars today, look at the Chinese. Now, I did review a Skywell BE11. It wasn't good. Japanese cars came into the UK back in the 70s, and they were not good. As we've discovered, the handling was not good. Be careful what you wish for, because you think now, Honda Civic 11 generations, Honda Civic Type R, fuck me. What a monster. And they really are a monster. And it is a far, far distant relative, really, compared to what its humble originals were. But yes, be careful, you see, because those Chinese cars, as much as we all berate them now and just go, they will get better. So the Japanese, they got better. I'm going to go back a bit on price, because it was quite something. You see, back in the day, the Japanese came in with cars that worked. Dynamically, they might have been a bit, but they worked. And that is what we Europeans wanted in a car. We just wanted it to work, because to be honest with you, you're going to work on a Monday. You really don't want to go to work on a Monday, but you want your car that starts on a wet day to fuck you off to work. British cars didn't. European cars didn't. It was a little bit spicy with the ignition key. But price, again, you see, because my friends at What Car magazine were talking about the Honda Civic. Now, let me just find it here in my list of cars. Honda Civic 1200, £1,348. Now, compare that to an Alfa Sud. Yes, admittedly, the Alfa Sud was head and shoulders above this, and so it bloody well should be at £1,899. However, the Alfa Sud, as we know, had its own problems, and I blame that car for killing Alfa Romeo. But that's for another day. But then you look at other cars. So we're looking at the 1200, and yeah, compared to a lot of its contemporaries, this really did shine for the price. Austin Allegro, here we go, £1,541. British car, buy British, yeah, buy British, yeah, buy a car. I have to say, though, I do like the Allegro, because I quite like the dumpy look. European look, dumpy look. Hey, that quite goes. Anyway, let's jump in it. Let's go for a drive, and we'll see if it's got European finesse behind the wheel. So we're driving the delightful little 1200 Honda Civic, and it is delightful to drive. You can see why British people suddenly went, actually, we're going to buy more of these Honda cars, because they did just drive nicely. Now, there are a few problems, and one of the problems you come up to is a roundabout. Without trying, this thing does not like going at any speed, unless it's a snail's pace around the corner, because it just goes, woo! The tyres get a little bit vocal. But do you know what? That aside, not a problem. However, a problem this car has it runs out of gears very, very quickly. It's quite a talky little engine. Here I am in a suburban area and I'm going up a hill. Here we are, I've hit 20, I'm in 4th gear. And it just pulls itself along really nicely. And there are many times when I'm driving and I go, oh, I want a 5th gear. And I'm constantly trying to go for a 5th. Honda did give you a 5th gear in your Honda Civic a bit later on, thankfully, because it really is a car that's crying out for it, because the engine just has so much flexible torque that it's really quite lovely. The ride is, it was best described as choppy, and I can tell you now, the ride is best described as choppy. There were good things to come from the Honda Civic. The heater fan, 2-speed, reasonably quiet. When you're driving along, you really can't hear it. Not that the engine is noisy, but you really just don't hear this at all. And there's a lovely draft that comes out, very, very efficient. And the steering, very, very light to touch. And the controls, admittedly, they were typical of the Japanese cars. They were the wrong way around, so your indicators were on your right side, whereas in Europe, we always put them on the left. But you've got a radio, and you've got a cigar lighter, and you've got heater controls that just all fall to hand, and a clock over there. The clock is a really peculiar thing that it's off the beaten track. Your passenger has a good view of the time, so they can tell you, hurry up, John, we're running late. But when you're driving, you go, I want to know what the time is. It's very good, although back in the day we wore watches. But it's very, very clear to see, very, very easy to handle. And do you know, it's got some nice features, because my 1.5 litre bottle of Robinson's orange juice fits by the handbrake between the seatbelts. And there is a really nice little, actually I don't know why I haven't used it, pocket down here by the seats, which is big enough. It's like Honda knew the future, and they really did know the future. A smartphone can fit into your little door pocket. Admittedly, these all just fell to pieces, and there are very few left on the road. But do you know what? If you've got one, you think, where do I put my smartphone? In the door pocket. So it's got a reasonable amount of space up front. Yeah, in the back it's a bit tight, but do you know what? It's a 2-door economy saloon. Anyway, we'll carry on driving. Now, the Honda Civic came originally as a saloon, and it's got a neat little bit of engineering that I just think is exceptional. When things like the Citroen GS, again, should have come as a hatchback, it didn't, came as a saloon. The Alfa Sud should have been a hatchback, came as a saloon. Now, the GS, lovely, had a gas strut down, literally taking the bumper up. Bit of a pain in the arse to load that car, because if you hadn't started up and raised the switch, it was really quite low. Get the estate, piece of piss. Alfa Sud, open up the tailgate, slap it against the glass. Notice this doesn't have a heated rear window. Bloody hell. Anyway, over-engineering. Well, yeah, this isn't over-engineering. I mean, why Honda felt that they had to make this big, massive plate for the license plate with the lights, I don't know. But anyway, it's inside here, because you lift this up. Oh, hello. That is such a cheeky bitch little design, because it's just so lovely counterbalanced. No gas struts, just, now I'm quite sure on a strong wind that will probably come down on you, but it's just how that works. And it does reveal a boot that is not big by comparison of the day. Yeah, small city cars, yeah, absolutely perfect. But, you know, compared against the contemporaries, and I think the Allegro was probably even bigger than this, the Alfa Sud definitely, and the GS was vast. But, you know, for shopping in, load it all in, it wasn't so difficult. So, not so bad. But, oh, I'm going to film this working, because it is just a piece of engineering delight. And I hope we've got enough battery. Oh, we've got 1% battery left. Right, so here we go. Watch that work. This is, this is the boot hinge stay. Oh, look at that. That is just, isn't that just beautiful? Let's do it again. Oh. Honestly, here I am. Look, that's Honda there, and they're probably looking at the window going, fucking weirdo. But I don't care, because I tell you now, oh, that is sensational. In suburbia, hustling around the streets, I say hustling, I mean just poodling along the streets looking for Mavis and Derek's house, It's a plonk. You just turn steering wheel and you go, yay, that's where I'm going here, I'm going there. It just did what it had to do. It was very, very easy to drive. The driver controls, let's put it this way, the brakes and the clutch are so super efficient. I mean, you sort of think this is 1976. The Honda Civic came out in 1972. It just is easy to drive. I mean, I've driven a lot of old cars. I've had a number of old cars. I can tell you now, none of them could really, really match this for just driver ease. Now, admittedly, when I have reviewed new cars, and you do get this ease, you go, oh, they're a bit boring, aren't they? Because I always had this thing about a Lamborghini. See, Lamborghini Countachs, really, they're like supercars for men, they're macho cars. But they were very difficult to drive, so they made you feel $1 million, made you feel proper, like you're proper driving. Drive a lot of cars from Europe, and you know, they've got a few problems, but they make you feel like you're driving. This takes away a lot of it. You do feel a bit anaesthetised, and the steering, yeah, it's sort of a bit anaesthetised. But you know, that here we are. See, here I'm at 40 on a dual carriageway. I'm trying to go for 5th, which isn't there, because it needs it. Here we are, 40. And it was smooth, and this is what caught out Europe, because it was smooth. You think about an Allegro with an A-series engine. Not as smooth as this, and not as quiet, but this is just smooth and just efficient. And it was efficient. More efficient than you realise. It was very, very economical, and it had a very, very specific cylinder head, a CVCC, I think they called it. And yeah, I might try and tell you a bit about that, because I have taken a bit of the information on that, because it's very, very good. But so efficient was the engine in this that apparently in America, I think it was in America, they didn't need to put a catalyst on it. This is what I read. I could be wrong. They didn't need to put a catalyst on it. It was so fuel efficient and so good when it came to what came out the tailpipe. So, you know, that's pretty impressive stuff. The engine in the Civic is quite special because it's well ahead of its time. Let's just find the little bonnet catch. Oh, that's beautiful. Because it had a compound vortex controlled combustion engine. That was the CVCC. And it debuted in December 1973 with a head design that allowed for more efficient combustion. And as a benefit, the CVCC system did not require a catalytic converter or unleaded fuel to meet 1975 Environmental Protection Agency emission standards for hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide. Now, I already said about that when I went for a drive. And the other thing, you might be going, hang on, unleaded fuel? Yes, because in the UK brochure, it mentioned this thing can run on unleaded fuel. And you go, what? But we didn't have unleaded fuel in the UK. I know, right? So, again, one step into the future. Do you know, I have to say, this thing is absolutely delightful to drive. I drove through Wokingham town centre, and there was a chap that went, oh, classic Honda! Bloody hell! It did make me chuckle. I thought, yay, we've made someone smile with the beautiful little bright little yellow Honda Civic from Honda UK. So anyway, I should really say thank you very much, Honda UK, very much Bradley, thank you very much, Press Garage, for letting me do this. I tell you now, I know it's not easy letting out your treasures, but do you know what? Yeah, I am so thankful. So thankful that you've let me do this, because I tell you, this has just been a dream ever since I saw it in press photos. And you're like, oh, can I? So, thank you, Honda. I know it's a bit arse-licky that, but you know, there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little thing I've done with the Honda Civic. And yeah, anyway, Martin, go take care. I'll see you soon. Do you know, I do have to take this back. My X19's there, and John liked my X19. I better take this back. I better take it back, actually. I like the X19. If it was the Beetle, I'd be like, fuck it, leave it. No, not really. On about it, because it really does just amazes me. Anyway, that went a bit wrong. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. Hello, welcome to Driven It. Have I just said I'm here with the Honda Civic? Oh, for fuck's sake, I did that wrong, didn't I? I think I've already said I'm with the fucking Honda Civic. Or did I? I'm confused. I'm confused. But I know it's September, right? GoPro, stop recording. Grin. I am here today. Oh no, fucking hell. Welcome to Driven. I forgot to say welcome to Driven it, didn't I? Oh, for fuck's sake. I wish to have a whiteboard with a script on Japanese cars because they're too good. They were too good. Having driven this, no, we haven't driven it yet, have we? So where did Honda come from? Well, they come from Japan. There we go, job done. That's it, let's go home. No, they're here in Bracknell. No, but they weren't here in Bracknell originally. They come from Japan. They do come from Japan. Anyway, so where did they come from? Oh, for fuck's sake. Or a maker, a multi-global, national, blah, 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 whatever you want to bloody call it. I can't bloody say the word. Just don't use them big words. GoPro, stop recording.